So here the same, whatever we have discussed in terms of the task states, it can be dormant, ready, executing, blocked, and terminated. So the life cycle of the task starts from here, the task creation. Once it's active, it can be from the ready, it can directly schedule, or it may be waiting in terms of the scheduler, it is of time slice based, or the task can be going to be blocked state because of some IO resources not available or some event is not occurred. So whenever an event occurred, so the task resumes from this block to the ready state, and again it gets scheduled in the executing level. So once it's done, so the task roles are completed, so it will be moved under terminations. So the scheduling algorithms, the heart and soul of this particular RTOS. So the RTOS, which is actually having different types of schedulers, it can be either static or the priority driven. So the priority is something, every task has its own priority defined by the user to decide which task has to run at what level. So these priorities can be in terms of fixed priorities, or it can be in terms of dynamic priorities. So for some of these fixed priority schedulers, or RM, which is expands for rate monotonic algorithm, and the DM, the deadline monotonic algorithms, and the early deadline first, which is a dynamic priority, and also this LLF, the least laxity first. So these are all the schedulers which are mainly dependent on the task priority parameters, and also the task, what is its job, how much time it has to execute, how much time it requires CPU. So there are many other investigations has to be done at the developer side to ensure that the task is able to run in time and able to do its responsibilities assigned. So as we also said here, the fixed priorities which can be assigned during the design and will remain constant for the lifetime of the task. And the dynamic priorities, these priorities run at the runtime based on execution parameters of the task, supporting for the upcoming deadlines. These fixed priority algorithms are simpler than the dynamic priority algorithms. The reason being, it is involved based on the slack time and also the different parameters where the task has to execute in terms of what is the defined time slices, what is the task deadlines. So it all basically clearly defined or the mentioned at the time of application creation, so that this is where the intelligence of an engineer comes into picture to decide which scheduler to go with. So let's see what kind of job roles available at the entry level of engineers. So here this RTOS platform welcomes the entry level engineers to develop the applications by creating flowcharts, the pseudocodes, the sequence diagrams, programming the small modules, and many more. Actually, it varies based on the industry processes. So here initially we'll entry level engineers will try to understand what kind of APIs are available with the autos, performing some experiments, and based on those experimentation results, the mentors or the particular owners, task owners, will guide the engineers to go ahead how we'll be able to represent in terms of flow charts. So this is where the key, the understanding of these autos comes into picture. So if our understanding with respect to autos and its APIs, the behaviors, if it's not clear, we will not be able to create all these things, and it will be pretty difficult to grow in this career. So the task job roles in terms of the senior level engineers can be like leads, which creates the design architecture of the project, what kind of application it has to perform, and how many tasks it requires, and what is the role of each task. So all these definitions will be performed by the senior level engineers. So this can be involved as the stages can be called as high level designs or the low level designs. So these high level designs, which will be included at the level of the modules. So the overall application will be broken down in terms of modules, how the data flow and the control flow will be represented or will be decided by the senior level engineers. the low level design, which will help us exactly what is the insights of these modules. So here, what is the module timelines involved, what level of memory operations it is having, and where it has to perform these interrupts. So all these details, minute level details, will be mentioned at this low level designs. And these also basically varies based on the industry process, whatever the architecture or the life cycle they follow. So these varies. As per the typical job roles in the top management. So here the top management can be involved in deciding whether the project can be go ahead or not based on the inputs from the leads. So here the primary key factors noted by this top management are the efforts involved, what is the level of application, development timings, what is the team size it requires, and also performing in terms of the budgetary quotations. So what is the cost of this project impact, and also these risk factors. So many other various industry process they will follow in terms of whether the project can give us a growth for the up next things from the client, or also the overviews, how we will be able to expand in the markets. So these are the few primary areas where the top managements are involved to take the decisions. So here, let's see one case study I would like to share in terms of the sonar communication. So where the lots of transmissions of the burst ultrasonic signals through water happens. And also the same systems like submarines will be receiving these ultrasonic condition signals of the echoed. If we see the same represented over the image, so the ship or the submarine will be able to transmit a sonar signal whenever any of the reflected object it founds. So the echo will be coming back as a reflected signal, which will be received at the hydrophone of this submarine. So these echoed signals, what is the time it has taken to reach the hit the target, and also it come back for the echo signal. So all these calculations were performed in the background to understand what is the distance of this particular target. So with this, we'll be able to identify the threats which are nearby, and also we can understand whether the nearby submarines or if there is any shark while the is there any kind of mammals in the water. So whether we are having any threat when we are walking moving on to this moving in this submarine. So all these involves the high speed signal processing which can send out the results. So let's see how it operates. Here, this mainly requires a data processor where the CPU as well as the DACs or ADCs will be there. So the DACs expansion is of digital to analog converters, so which will generate an TX card signal, communicates with this TX card. So to generate any of the output signal of this sonar. So this signal, whatever it is actually transmitted, generated by this DAC, will be sent to the TX card. From this transmission card, this will be amplified. So whatever signal we are getting from this data processor will be of very low power. So with this help of this TX card, so using the power amplifier, we are actually boosting the signal in a way to send it out through ultrasonic transducer, because the wave which has to flow over the water, it requires a high amplification. So for that, this boosting is required. So whenever the signal hits any target, the echo comes back. So the echo, whichever is coming back, will be received using this ultrasonic transducer. And this transducer, which is of high power signal, we need to filter it out to reduce down in a way the uh, uh, this card can handle. So that's where here the power down signal or the low power signal will be sent to the RX card, and then it will be transmitted to the ADCs. So this is where actually the analog to digital conversions will happen. So all the signals which are received as an analog format will be converted to the digital. So now comes the role of CPU and also the autos. So how at what time we have received, and what is the samples behavior. Based on these samples, we will be able to understand what is the signal it has received, because the samples which will be received in a continuous process, whether the echo comes or it won't comes. If echo comes, then it will be the high boosted signal, otherwise it will be of the noise. So this elimination or the suppressions will be done by this software application. So this is at the receiver part, and the transmission part also CPU performs a major role to identify what is the transmission rate and also what is the transmission angle, which angle we would like to make the beam steering has to happen. So those all parameters will be taken care by the CPU, which is guided by the user through any of the networking protocol or whatever the communication it is connected with this data processor. So accordingly, this signal will be sent out in terms of the transmission side. So here the sonar hardware, which will be having the high-speed processors, the ADCs, the analog and digital conversions. So these hardware has to be taken precisely based on the application, what is our ranges of this particular echo signal it has to go or it has to receive. So accordingly, the time rates, the sample rates, the conversion, everything parameters comes into picture when we are choosing the ADC chip, and also the vendor as well. Same applies to the DAC, but this is in terms of the signal, when to send, what is the rate, and also what is the capability of this particular DACs, when to turn off, or the to ensure that I want to stop particular signal generations. So that cutoff time, the switching time, everything matters when we are selecting these components. So that's where actually the hardware engineers come in and plays a big role in it. And the memories, where we will be having the runtime memories for the RAM, and also our images will be stored in our flash memories, where the image footprints is part of it. So what is the size of application, and also during runtime, as well as the static time stored footprint. So those has to be analyzed very carefully. And also, so far we have seen the devices which is performs what its role, but the every device which requires the power, these power regulators which is meant to convert the input power, it can be, let's say, 12 volts or 24 volts or the 5 volts. So accordingly, these power regulators has to able to take it and generate the required outputs for these ADC memories. And also the processor boot pins. So here the processor boot pins will be there in terms of which memory it has to boot, and also what kind of interrupt lines it will be having. So here these processor boot pins are meant to decide which memory it has to boot, or which interface, like UART interface, the Ethernet interface, and a lot of multiple parameters are there for this processor boot pins. And also interrupt lines are there in terms of when to receive the interrupts, and also when these user input parameters will be triggered. So accordingly, all these things has to be taken care at the hardware level to ensure that we are covering all the required inputs, whatever the customer requirement has. So let's see some of the sonar software. What is the performance or the requirements of this particular ATOS application? So here we'll be having multiple tasks. So these tasks are meant to receive and transmit the data in timely manner. In time, the process, the processing of these received data from ADCs has to be timely, properly scheduled at the tasks. Able to have those tasks should be defined with the proper stack memories to work with these ADCs, the memory, the samples it is captured, and based on the results, it takes the decisions and also frames the data for transmission. So these processing involves previously, as we've seen, or as we mentioned, in terms of how, what is this sample coming in, and how after receiving it, we should be able to plot that based on the defined algorithms. Once it is able to plot, we should be able to identify and compare its results based on the reference limits. So once it is done, then we will be able to consider either this data can be transmitted via ADCs. Sorry, here it must be either DACs, or it can be either stored to the storage devices. So for the basically for the analysis in the later on stages offline. So here, once it is done, there must be a particular task to handle all the health of this particular hardware. So here these health has to be continuously monitored by this particular embedded software to indicate to the user if there is any kind of threat of over temperatures or there is a kind of high voltage input signals. So this must be very critical task which is very much responsible to take care of the health of this card. And there are different software tools for these developments. We'll be using the software development kits to develop the code of the application and also to compile. So using these development kits, we can also analyze and do the profiling, what is the memory size it is occupying. And also during runtime, we must require these debugger tools to load and test the particular software on the hardware. So during this debugging stage, which is one of the very crucial stage, I can say, because this is the stage where the software, whether really running or not running on the hardware, whether it's got dumped on the hardware. So all those details and parameters we'll be able to understand through these debugger tools. So here we must be very wise in selecting our software tools. So what kind of debugging support is available from the vendor, and how they can be supported either through the respective their FAs. So those are all support activities we need to take care of it. So here, this domain is open and also widespread for different engineers. What kind of requirements or what kind of skills it requires to enter into this domain? So this domain requires the good programming skills, majorly in terms of C and C++. And every engineer must have these autos concepts and also the processor which we are working on. So the processor which we are working on must be well known to us, what kind of registers it is having, what is the operating speed of it, and what level of interrupt numbers it is. So then only will the engineer must be able to develop the software. And also the software tool usage must be known to user or the engineer who is working on. So what happens otherwise, so the options will either to download or to run must be known. Otherwise there are chances the hardware must go into either uh, problematic or the hardware may get damaged if this is not properly taken care. And the engineer must be able to have the understanding in terms of hardware. So it can be with respect to the chips which we are using it, and the ICs and the connections involved for these particular chips. So this hardware understanding is must for engineer. The software engineer must not consider, okay, it's a part of hardware engineers will take care. It won't work out in this particular domain, because without hardware understanding, the software can't be developed. So whether it has to be in what level of address space it should have, and what level of interrupt lines it should have, and also the processor clock frequencies. So these are at least minimum requirements where software engineers must be able to understand on the hardware components and the chips used. And moreover, the engineer must have the good digital systems knowledge. So here this digital system knowledge is helpful in terms of creating any of the logics for the working with ADC samples or the DAC samples. So accordingly, these fundamentals helps to code the engineer in C program language or whatever the programming it is taken call to work with the project. So here, this domain welcomes either the experienced or the freshers can be part of this domain just by gaining the knowledge on these above concepts. And these concepts can be learned by leveraging the popular institutes courses on these real-time systems to get the step-by-step and the hustle-free learning, so that we will be able to gain and grow in right shape.